Good morning. How are you all? Hope that you are all okay. Today we will continue reading our new story, The Signmaker's Assistant. And as we said before, that was the meaning of the word Signmaker. Sign plus maker give me a new compound word, which is sign maker, the person who makes signs. And assistant means helper, person who helps. The question of the week or the theme of our story. Okay, how can we be responsible when we make a mistake? How can you be responsible? What should you do when you make a mistake? First, I have to say sorry and apologize. Then you have to fix up the mistake. You have to fix up the mistake. The genre is humorous fiction. Humorous means it's full of funny events, and it's a funny story about imaginary people and events. Imaginary means that they cannot be in our real life. Now let's read The Sign-Maker's Assistant by Ted Arnold. Everyone in town agreed the sign maker did the finest work for miles around. Under his brush, ordinary letters became beautiful words, words of wisdom, words of warning, or words that simply said which door to use. When he painted stop, people stopped because the sign looked so important. When he painted please keep off the grass, they kept because the sign was polite and sensible. When he painted got food, they just naturally became hungry. People thanked the sign maker and paid him well. But the kind old man never failed to say, I couldn't have done it without Norman's help. So here we have an old man. The old man here is the sign maker, okay? Everyone in the town said that he is the excellent one in the town who draws the signs, okay? And we said signs like pictures or important pictures to tell us when should we stop and when should we move and what this place or what is this, okay? So here everyone in the town said that no one is better than the old man, okay? The old man has an assistant, and all the time the old man or the sign maker said that he couldn't do anything without Norman's help. So the small boy or his assistant named Norman's, okay? Norman is the assistant of the sign maker. Norman, the sign maker's assistant. Each day after school he cut wood, mixed colors, and painted simple signs. Soon I will have a shop of my own, said Norman. Perhaps, answered the sign maker, but not before you clean these brushes. One day after his work was done, Norman stood at a window over the sign shop and watched people. They stopped at the stop sign and they entered at the enter sign. They ate under the got food sign. So as you see here that people listen to the sign maker signs, When they find a sign told them to stop, they stopped. When they find a sign told them to enter from here, so they will enter from here. And when they find a sign told them that this is a good food, they eat from this good food. So all the people in the town listened to the signs of the sign maker. They do whatever the signs say, said Norman to himself. I wonder, I have an idea. He crept into the shop, moved slowly, while the sign maker napped when he is sleeping and taking a nap. With brush and board, he painted a sign of his own. Early the next morning, he put up the sign, then ran back to his window to watch what will happen. No school, muttered the principal. How could I forget such a thing? No one informed me, said the teacher. Hooray! Cheered the children, and everyone went home. So, the sign maker assistant, or Norman, have an idea. He found that everyone in the town listened to the sign maker signs. So he had an idea. Why not I make a sign for my own and have some fun? Why shouldn't I make a joke for the people in the town and laugh at them? I will make a trick. He make a sign, and he draw a sign and put it on the school, and he wrote in it that no school today. So everyone in the school said that really it's no school today. No one wondered or thought that maybe it's a fun. No, all of them listened to the sign. So the principal said, oh, how could I forget such a thing? I forget that today is no school, or it's a weekend, for example. And also the teacher said, oh, no one informed me, no one told me. And all the children became very happy, and they go back home again. This is great, cried Norman. Norman shouted when he see that, and he said, this is great, it's a great thing. He looked around town for another idea. Oh, he said at last, there is something I have always wanted to do. The following day, Norman jumped from the top of the fountain in the park. As he swam, he thought to himself, I can do lots of things with signs. Ideas filled his head. That morning, when Norman went to work, the sign maker said, I must drive to the next town and paint a large sign on the storefront. I will return tomorrow evening. So please lock up the shop tonight. So here, the sign maker assistant, or Norman, have another idea. He wanted to swim in the fountain. So he make a sign, or draw a sign, open for swimming, mean that all of the people are allowed to swim here. Is it a swimming pool? No, it's not a swimming pool, so it's not allowed to swim here. But Norman write that all of the people can swim here. So even the children came, or all the children came to swim with him in the fountain, and he jumped into the fountain to swim, as you see here in the picture. The next afternoon, or that afternoon, the sign maker told him that I will travel today and I will come back tomorrow evening. So lock and close the shop tonight, okay, and go home. As soon as the sign maker was gone, Norman started making signs. He painted for hours and hours and hours. In the morning, people discovered new signs all around town. So the sign maker's assistant kept drawing all the night. What he was drawing? He was drawing signs, and he put them in the town, around the town. So what did he draw? In the morning, people discovered new signs all around town. He changed all the signs of the town. Let's see next week, inshallah, what will happen here. Now, let's listen together for the story.
The Signmaker's Assistant by Ted Arnold. Question of the week. How can we be responsible when we make a mistake? The Signmaker's Assistant by Ted Arnold. Question of the week. How can we be responsible when we make a mistake?
Everyone in town agreed. The old sign maker did the finest work for miles around. Under his brush, ordinary letters became beautiful words, words of wisdom, words of warning, or words that simply said which door to use. When he painted "Stop," people stopped because the sign looked so important. When he painted "Please keep off the grass," they kept off because the sign was polite and sensible. When he painted "Good food," they just naturally became hungry. People thanked the sign maker and paid him well. But the kind old man never failed to say, "I couldn't have done it without Norman's help." Norman was the sign maker's assistant. Each day after school, he cut wood, mixed colors, and painted simple signs. "Soon I will have a shop of my own," said Norman. "Perhaps," answered the sign maker, "but not before you clean these brushes." One day, after his work was done, Norman stood at a window over the sign shop and watched people. They stopped at the stop sign. They entered at the enter sign. They ate under the good food sign. "They do whatever the signs say," said Norman to himself. "I wonder..." He crept into the shop while the sign maker napped. With brush and board, he painted a sign of his own. Early the next morning, he put up the sign, then ran back to his window to watch. "No school," muttered the principal. "How could I forget such a thing? No one informed me. said the teacher. Hooray! Cheered the children, and everyone went home. This is great! Cried Norman. He looked around town for another idea. Oh, he said at last, there is something I have always wanted to do. The following day, Norman jumped from the top of the fountain in the park. As he swam, he thought to himself, I can do lots of things with signs. Ideas filled his head. That afternoon, when Norman went to work, the Signmaker said, I must drive to the next town and paint a large sign on a storefront. I'll return tomorrow evening, so please lock up the shop tonight. As soon as the Signmaker was gone, Norman started making signs. He painted for hours and hours and hours. In the morning, people discovered new signs all around town.
So we will stop here today, and next week inshallah we will complete our amazing and interesting story, and we will see what will happen for the town people and what they will make with the sign maker's assistant Norman. Goodbye girls, and see you tomorrow inshallah. Bye.